Hi, this is George Cromley with the Crotchety Old Men podcast. Hopefully, you've been enjoying the information we've been providing on the podcast, and we'd like to continue to do that. But we'd also like to get some feedback from you. So if you like what you're hearing, or if you don't like what you're hearing, drop us a line at the Crotchety Old Man Podcast at gmail.com. That's the Crotchety Old Man Podcast at gmail.com. And remember, you can hear us not only on YouTube, but you can also hear us on your favorite podcast platform, being iHeart, Google, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Take care. And as we always say on the Crotchety Old Man podcast, if you didn't know, now you know. Welcome to another edition of the Crotchety Old Man podcast. I'm one of your hosts, George Crumley, and in the studio with me is my man, PC. PC,
Hey,
how we doing today?
hey, man, shoot, I'm walking. I'm 6 feet above, which is about as tall as I'm ever gonna get in this life. And I'm talking. So life is good here, brother.
I know that's right. I know that's right, man. Life is good. Can't think of anything else to ask for. We're just trying to do what we can, provide information, and hey, just be good servants of the Lord.
I know that's right, brother. I hear you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what we got in store today? What are we going to talk about today?
We were talking earlier, not just today, but last week about talking about Social Security benefits. And I think that's a good this is a good time really to talk about that because first of all, it's an election year. And second of all, people are living a lot longer. So there have been a lot of issues in the news that has come up about Social Security.
Yeah, I mean that's so important. I know we've done podcasts on Social Security before, and I think there's probably a couple of areas that we can probably touch upon that'll be somewhat enlightening for our audience. But what I always like to do is kind of review what we've talked about in the past, and that's the age old question is, when do I take my Social Security? And I think that's so important. Just for example, if you're 66, I'm sorry, if you were born in 1958, that'll make you about 66. Um, if you take your Social Security at 66, I think the full retirement is 66 and an eighth. So it's like 66 almost is a little bit more than I have before you get 69. 67, I'm sorry. Man, my numbers are messed up today, aren't they? Wow. Man. Well, anyway, what I'm trying to say is if you take it early at 62, you're probably going to get a little bit less than you would at full retirement, which would be 66 and an eighth. Full
And not
retirement, you
only
get
that, yeah, not only, I'm not to cut you off, George, sorry about that, but also at age 62, there's some other things that you need to think about, and that is the penalties that are involved. If you take it out at 62, I know the penalties went up from 14,000 to I think like about $17,000 now. If you earn anything over 14,000 or $17,000, they take a dollar for every $2 that you make out of over the $17,000. So that's
actually that went
something
up.
for people to consider when they retire early at 62. And then
Actually,
the other thing is that once you take it out at 62, the level in which you get paid for your Social Security stays that same way for the rest of your life.
yeah, actually that number went up a little bit. I think it was 25,000
Could have
starting
been,
with
yeah,
this
because we've
year.
had
It
a
went up
couple
a
of
little bit.
raises.
But yeah, like you say, for every dollar, I think they take $2 out, or is it every $2 they take $1 out? But yeah,
They
there
take
is a
$1
penalty.
out. That's right.
Yeah, there is a penalty for taking it at 62. Plus, you once you if you get full at 62, you're probably talking about $2,800. At 66, you're probably talking about $3,800, and if you go all the way to 70, you're probably talking about the max somewhere around $4,800. So there's quite a bit of difference there. Understanding that after full retirement, your money grows at about 8%. So that's something people really need to kind of take a look at.
Now, I would say it grows at 8% depending upon what the interest rate is.
Hmm.
Because earlier we had raises, cost of living raises with our Social Security that was less than 8% at the time, and
Hmm.
that's because the interest rates were a lot lower. So that's something to consider too when you're considering when it is that you're going to go into your Social Security benefit.
Right, right, right. So yeah, it's very important that you take a look at when you want to take your Social Security, making sure that it fits your lifestyle. You don't want to leave any money on the table, but it's something it's different for everybody.
It
But I just
is.
wanted to put that information out there. But the elephant in the room is that most economists say that 2034, Social Security may go away. What do you think about that?
Well, I was looking at some articles in the AARP and the Motley Fool that support that notion that retirement benefits are going to go away. And here are some of the reasons why they pointed out that may very well happen. One of the things is that we're living a lot longer, and the
Hmm.
longer that we live, the more we're going to rely on Social Security benefits, which is going to deplete the funds that are available in Social Security as well. The other thing is that they also point out, because you figure like this, you figure 66 million have been paid out on a monthly basis in 2022.
Okay.
66 million, 66 million. The program started in 1935 with Roosevelt, which was to help the disadvantaged Americans. Okay. So you got $2.9 trillion that is used for budgetary needs for the money that's borrowed with interest from Congress. So the borrowed, and I'm getting into a whole nother subject right now because Congress borrows against the money that's in Social Security, but that money that's being borrowed is backed by government bonds. So actually, what people thought about Social Security in terms of it being lessened because Congress was borrowing the money is not necessarily true.
Yeah, I think the premise is that, like you said, there are more people retiring and there are less people working and paying into it. Okay, because
True.
you have a lot of entrepreneurs, Generation Z, Generation X, all those folks that are looking at it different ways. So it's almost like money coming in, money going out. The money going out is greater than the money coming in. So that's the theory. But and I've read some articles also, some in those same periodicals. But interesting enough, they're saying that it comes down to a political history. There's no politician that's really going to end his career early by saying we're going to do away with Social Security. And I think that the rule of thumb, or what the overall thing is that if by 2034, if nothing is done, meaning the age is increased, the amount of money is increased that goes into it, that it will be cut down to about 80%. So you'd be receiving about 80% of what you're getting right now. So it's not going to, like, it's poof and it just goes away. It won't be like that. But what you'll probably see over the next couple of years is that the age we talked about, 70, it may go from 66 as far as full retirement to 70, as far as allowing individuals to collect full employment. And then your employment tax, your tax that actually funds it, probably will go up also. So you'll probably see those couple things initiated to kind of bolster Social Security. So that's probably what we're looking at.
And I
Thoughts on
agree
that?
with your findings because the Motley Fool predicted that about 78, your benefit would go down to about 78% about what you're making right now. And so you figure, the assets by 2034, the way things are going right now, may very well be depleted by that time.
Right. So I got a real interesting one though. There's a couple economists out there that are saying that they need to do away with 401k. And the reason they want to do it with the 401k is because that money goes untaxed. And if the money is untaxed, then that means it's not going towards the Social Security fund. So they're estimating about 200 billion is lost because of it going into retirement 401 and IRA plans, because those dollars are not taxed initially. So that's a big one. You got some people disagreeing, some people agreeing, but that's one of the things that have been put on the table is to do away with the 401k plan.
And that's an interesting point to consider, because you think about the amount of money that they're borrowing between 2018 and 2027. Um, the the net opportunities for that borrowing and what the government is backing comes to about $804 billion between 2018 and 2027. So, taking into consideration what you're talking about as far as companies doing away with the 401ks, you really don't have anything as a retiree to augment your money. And that's something to consider as a retiree as to what you're going to do. And a lot of us, in my case, we have to go back to work, which is a bummer to me.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, you know what, man, this has been a great subject, and we've rolled out a lot of pearls as usual. Hopefully, our audience will take it on and do some research themselves and see what's their best avenue. And as always on the Crotchety Old Men, we always come up with some pearls of wisdom. You got anything for us today, PC?
I do. I have an old saying that my grandfather always taught us when we were sitting on his knee or sitting in a chair, and that is to say that ask for the whole loaf. Now, if you ask for a slice, all you're going to get is a slice if you get that. But if you ask for a whole loaf, you might get a slice, you might get a half a slice, you might get a whole loaf of bread, but ask for the whole loaf.
Well said. That's a good one. I like that. I like that. And as we always say on the Crotchety Old Man podcast, if you didn't know, hey,
Now
now
you
you
know.
know. Thanks.
Take it easy,
PC.
George.
All right, now be careful.
Peace.